Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily Update, my 1000 Days Challenge. This is day 343, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, you'll notice another drop for my equity balance itself. Now it's down by around another 150. And that's based on what I mentioned on the two long trade itself, both on Ethereum, and it was both on the experimental and the main trading account setup you'll see over here. So one now in terms of 100 plus over there, and another one now in terms of $50 over there for the experimental trade setup. All right, so having that said, in terms of market structure wise, S&P 500 does looks a little bit technically neutral, but do bear in mind that even though there was some sort of retracement you see yesterday, we are right now against another new all-time high. So which is why one thing I mentioned that even though I do see potential for much larger pullback, it is very hard for me to say when that will happen, especially we are trending very nicely just above the 20 exponential moving average on the daily chart itself. So similarly, you see that on Nasdaq, we are still looking to be relatively strong. And if you look into bigger scale, like what I did mention, if we look into consolidation wise, we did sort of consolidated very nicely from mid-February itself to perhaps even the mid of June itself. So that itself is approximately 4 months. So having 4 months of consolidation and then another strong push to the upside is not necessarily the most bearish thing or even most negative thing in this perspective of things, especially with the news of the recovery in terms of the US economy as well. So yeah, on the other hand, even though China economy or Chinese economy has been doing pretty well in terms of statistic itself, we can see that the government actions and the measures that they've taken has caused quite a drastic in terms of a drop and shift in terms of the capital as well. So that is very much understandable. I do see fear in the market myself because personally seeing this kind of large drop, even though they are doing well, is really very unexpected, I would say. So then bearing in mind, I still continue to see long-term potential in terms of Chinese stocks in terms of long-term wise, but short-term wise, I very much see that Chinese stock has generally been more volatile in comparison to US stock in general. Yeah, so KWAP itself, like what I mentioned, I say if you do sell the day before, like what I mentioned, now the problem is you'll be very much close to your break-even point. You take into consideration your fees and stuff like that, you may not be very much profitable. So which is why I say that selling off and over here is potentially not the best move because it's already breakdown. So even though in theory it has a consolidation and a breakout phase itself, but with this kind of gap period itself, it doesn't make much sense for swing trade setup. Perhaps for intraday trade, yes, but not so much for swing trade. All right, so having that said, I'm still in terms of position wise, I'm not saying that this is the end of it, but do see that even though there was very much distinct drop itself, the volume pickup was extremely strong in terms of buying volume itself. So yeah, or buying and selling volume itself. And finally for Bitcoin itself, so even though we are sort of going downwards, you do see that there isn't a very strong increase of volume. So even though yesterday there was a spike, you can see that today the volume didn't necessarily continue towards the upside of things. So I'm not necessarily very bearish itself, but overall it does still lead to a bearish momentum, especially looking into the line chart itself. Yeah, so there's something to bear in mind. So I'm still in this short trade itself. I'm not saying that just because it's a small bounce, I'm going to close the trade, but this is purely based on the systematic trade setup. All right, so with that said, that's more or less what I have for you guys today. I'm still within this trade setup, although short. Although personally, in terms of long-term investment, I do see that there is a very good potential that I could be stopped out and we could resume towards the upward trend momentum. But of course, on the flip side, when it comes to systematic trading, you do stick to your trading plan and what you see technically speaking. So yeah, so with that said, I've come to the end of today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.